The NRA helped block any government-funded research on gun deaths for decades, along with many other efforts to ensure there are more guns than people in the United States. Mike Spies of the reporting group The Trace and writer for The New Yorker has long reported on the NRA and was in court today. Mike, what stood out from LaPierre's testimony today?
Well, one thing that really stood out is that he's, in some respects, falling on the sword now. I mean, there's no question anymore about whether or not he had done the wrong thing. He's basically openly saying that the arrangements that he entered into prior to 2018, specifically hiding payments through the NRA's longtime PR firm, or going on these fancy vacations to his vendor's yacht or the Taj Mahal and those kinds of places, that was clearly the wrong thing to do, and that he should have been disclosing it to the board all along. But also at the same time, it wasn't done in bad faith. He just sort of made a mistake and didn't know better, and then embarked on a course correction, as they kept referring to it, in 2018. And now, this, according to him, the slate has more or less been wiped clean, and they're on solid footing.
Remind us what's at stake in this case, in this larger corruption case for the NRA.
Well, in some ways, really, what's at, the major thing that was at stake was whether or not Wayne was going to stay in power, but he voluntarily stepped down before the proceedings began. So now it's really a matter of whether or not he and several of the other defendants who are also, or the other individual offendants, are going to have to really pay up at the end of the proceedings, and how much money, in fact, they owe to the organization.
With LaPierre stepping down, regardless of the verdict, do you think that the American people are going to see a different landscape going forward in terms of lobbying efforts around guns as violence prevention groups like Everytown, Sandy Hook Promise, and Moms Demand Action play a larger role? Because Wayne LaPierre, as you know, but maybe our viewers don't, he really changed the NRA from what it was, which was a hunters organization and sportsmen's organization, to a major maybe the most successful lobbying organization in American politics.
Right. I think his legacy is that he made the issue extraordinarily binary and even tribal. And having been so successful at that, the way it is now is, I would say the Republican Party has just effectively absorbed the entire NRA platform, and it sort of became an extension of the organization, and now just acts the way that it it acts in the way that lobbying once was necessary for it to act, and now maybe is not so necessary anymore, based on the way it's socialized its constituents. And, it's like, in some ways, it's more similar to abortion. It's sort of like you have the Democratic Party that is in some ways uniformly in favor of regulation, and you have the Republican Party that's uniformly in favor or opposed to it. And that's sort of the landscape. And I think until people start understanding that pointing to an outside group as opposed to lawmakers, who are the ones who are now truly and officially accountable, it will be tough to make real headway.
Yeah. Mike Spies of Trace and The New Yorker, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Coming up next.